Eat, Bumpy said, pushing the plate of ribs across the table. June 10th, 1963. Small's Paradise. The restaurant was packed, but everyone knew what was happening at table 7. The man sitting across from Bumpy was shaking so bad he could barely hold his fork. He was the one who told the Italians where Bumpy's cash houses were, who'd helped Genovese move into Harlem, who'd gotten rich while Bumpy counted days in Alcatraz. I said, "Eat," Bumpy repeated, and this time his hand moved to his
waistband, because this is your last meal. Marcus Smooth Henderson had been running Harlem like he owned it for 11 years. Every Tuesday and Friday night he held court at Small's Paradise on 135th and 7th Avenue, the crown jewel of black nightlife in 1963. Smooth sat at table 7 in the back corner, surrounded by his crew, drinking French cognac and eating the best ribs in New York City. He wore Italian suits that cost $400, drove a midnight blue Cadillac Eldorado, had a penthouse apartment in Mount Morris Park with a view of Central Park. He had 40 men on his payroll, 5 policy banks running numbers across Harlem, and the Genovese family's blessing to operate as long as he paid his weekly tribute. Smooth had built all of this on the foundation Bumpy Johnson left behind, the connections, the infrastructure, the respect. He'd taken everything Bumpy created and claimed it as his own. And for 11 years, while Bumpy rotted in Alcatraz, Smooth had slept peacefully until June 7th, 1963. That was the day Bumpy walked out of Alcatraz, carrying everything he owned in a paper bag. 56 years old, grey in his hair now, 11 years older. But his eyes, those eyes still had that cold, calculating stillness that made strong men nervous. Bumpy didn't go home when he arrived in New York, didn't embrace his wife Mamie, didn't stop to rest after the 3-day train ride from San Francisco. He went straight to Junie Bird's apartment on 145th Street. Junie was waiting. 63 now, grey-haired, but loyal to his last breath. "Give me names," Bumpy said, not even sitting down. Junie had a list ready. He'd spent 11 years watching, listening, keeping track. He rattled off 15 names, men who'd gotten rich while Bumpy was locked away, men who'd carved up his territory like he was never coming back. But one name made Bumpy's jaw tighten. Marcus Henderson. Smooth had been Bumpy's protege, a sharp young hustler from 118th Street that Bumpy had taken under his wing in 1947. Bumpy taught him the numbers game, showed him how to run policy banks, introduced him to the right people, protected him when Dutch Schultz's old crew came for revenge. When Bumpy got arrested in 1952 for conspiracy, he trusted Smooth to hold things together, take care of the organization, send money to Mamie. For 2 years, Smooth did exactly that. Then the money stopped. The letters stopped. And according to Junie, Smooth had made a deal with Vito Genovese. He'd given up the locations of Bumpy's policy banks, told them which cops were on Bumpy's payroll, revealed where the cash houses were, and in exchange, the Italians let Smooth keep 125th Street for himself. Bumpy had spent 11 years in Alcatraz thinking about that betrayal. 11 years planning what came next. "Where does he eat?" Bumpy asked. "Small's Paradise," Junie said. "Every Friday night, table 7. Shows up at 9 like clockwork." Bumpy looked at his watch. It was Friday, 6 p.m. "Get me a table right
next to his." At 8:45 p.m., Small's Paradise was filling up. The weekend crowd was arriving. Hustlers, musicians, working folks spending their paychecks on good food and cold beer. The three-piece jazz combo was warming up in the corner. Waiters moved between tables carrying trays of fried chicken, collard greens, and cornbread. Bumpy Johnson walked in at 8:50 p.m. He was wearing the same suit he'd worn on the train from California, a charcoal grey number that had seen better days. His shoes were scuffed. He carried no weapon that anyone could see. He looked like a ghost, like something from Harlem's past walking into its present. The restaurant didn't go silent, but conversations shifted. Eyes tracked him as he moved through the crowd. Old-timers recognized him immediately. Younger hustlers who'd only heard the stories whispered to each other. "That's Bumpy Johnson. I thought he was dead. Man got out of Alcatraz 3 days ago." Bumpy walked straight
to table 8, right next to table 7. Junie Bird was already sitting there, along with Willie Fish Jackson and Raymond Quick Lewis, 3 old-timers who'd stayed loyal, 3 men who remembered what Harlem was like when Bumpy ran it. Bumpy sat down with his back to the wall, facing the entrance. Old habit, never sit with your back to the door. At exactly 9 p.m., Marcus Smooth Henderson walked in. Smooth was 38 now, dressed in a cream-colored suit with a burgundy tie, diamond rings on 3 fingers, gold watch. He had 4 men with him, bodyguards who looked like they'd never missed a meal. Smooth was laughing about something, holding court, acting like he owned the place. He did own the place, or at least he owned the protection that kept Small's Paradise operating without police raids. Smooth's crew headed for table 7. That's when Smooth saw Bumpy. He stopped mid-step. The blood drained from his face. His bodyguards noticed the change and followed his gaze. When they saw Bumpy, Johnson sitting there, calm as Sunday morning, their hands moved toward their waistbands. Bumpy didn't move, didn't react, just looked at Smooth with those cold, empty eyes. "Marcus," Bumpy said quietly, his voice carried across the restaurant. "Come sit with me." It wasn't a request. Smooth's bodyguards tensed. One of them, a thick-necked enforcer named Leon, stepped forward. "Mr. Henderson don't take meetings without—" Junie Bird stood up. He was 6'3".